Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how you can get unlimited amount of emails for free using NA10. The following system consists of two main parts. The system uses Google Maps in order to find the businesses and then we scrape their emails from their websites. Since we're using Google Maps, this allows us to customize the system on two variants. The first one is the location and the second is the type of business. So we can search for lawyers, doctors, dentists, any niche that you want to target for. And we can scale the system for any niche nationwide using the location parameter. So you can search for lawyers in New York, in Los Angeles, in Texas, in basically anywhere in the US and outside of it. So let's get right into it. Now this is the first part of the automation, which is the execution one, meaning that its input is the Google Maps search query and the output is the email list saved in Google Sheet. So as you can see, we have the sheet here and right now it's empty. In order to run this, we have the input here, which will be entered by another workflow, and our input is into this format. So it is location and niche. And instead of spaces, we use the plus icons. It's the required by Google Maps. Now, if we run this, we'll see the system, and the first part is the Google Maps scraping. Then we filter out the emails, the pages URL. Then we loop over the pages and we scrape those pages in order to search for the emails. We filter again, we deduplicate, and finally we save in the sheet. And we see that we got 20 results and we scraped also the system. Now, if we go to our emails, we'll see that it got appended now. And I have a pretty simple structure here. So I have the emails and I also have the input here, and you see why later. And as we can see here, the emails, we see the domains are law related. And if we go, for example, skip this, Los Angeles lawyer, and we see there are 20 businesses here. And let me find one. So LA City Law, what is this one? Yeah, I don't see it here. They changed by the definitions. Now, let's go over in detail and check out this system. So the first step is we perform a simple HTTP GET request on the Google Maps URL. This is a base URL. So we have the maps search, and the input is our search query here. And we don't need anything else. We see the response is plain HTML. And after that, we have a code block where we perform regex, which simply means we extract all URLs from the HTML file. And then after that, we filter out some of the base domains. So in that HTML, we have all these are Google related domains that are not helpful with our task here. So we filter these out. And if so I tested it on a few queries, and these are the ones I found. You might need to expand this, but the system is foolproof. So if an invalid URL comes here, so let's say somehow the google.com passes, scraping that system will return no emails, so there won't be any errors. Now, and this returns the URLs as a list, as you can see here. And this then, because this is in NA10 a single item, we split that into an array. So we have each URL as a separate item, and we see there are 21 of them. Now we loop over every URL, and in this one the only thing that we need to keep in mind here is that we need on error to continue. So if a request fails, the automation doesn't break out and it keeps working, because many times, especially if you do this at scale, the second request on the website might actually fail. And we just need to skip that. We don't want to break everything else. Now in this request, it's the same thing. So we have the URL of the business, and we pass it as an expression because we're taking the output of the for loop, which is inside the JSON file of URLs. And again, we don't need anything else. We're just on error. We're continuing, and this also returns the HTML from that website. Now, after we scrape all of the websites, we perform a second loop over these HTML files that we have. And now on this loop, we execute another code, which is very similar to the original one. And in this case, we perform again a regex, but now it's for emails, not URLs. And you probably don't know regex. It's okay. Nobody knows these days. ChatGPT will generate this pretty correctly. And both the code and the templates will be in the resources link in the video description. So you don't have to worry about it. You can access this file and the next one that we'll see. And the regex here, so I don't know what it actually means. I have studied regex a little bit at the university, but you know, you learn about it on Monday, you have forgotten about it on Tuesday. So we script the emails from HTML, and then what we do in this case is we just filter out any duplicates inside the code. We can do this as a separate NA10 node instead of doing inside the code block. But as a developer, I want to minimize the complexity of the automations here, and these code blocks really help sometimes with data transformations. Now we get the emails here, and as you can see, we have 20 items. And for example, we see on the first one we got an email. On the second one, as we see, we got this one, and as we see this one, it is basically the same email instead of the first one being capital letter. So, and this is a nice addition that we could actually implement. So instead of just making filtering the unique, we first lowercase everything, because if we had them lowercase as a first step, it would filter out this one as a single email, but that's okay. And I want to see, and let's go back to this one. So this one outputs 2 emails, while other outputs 1, and there's some of them that will output none of them if the page doesn't include an email. Yeah, so this one, as we see, it's empty. And now, after that, we aggregate them with node. And what we're going to do here is merge lists. We want to enable merge lists. And this is because sometimes we have either none, either one item inside the array, or more than one. So here we have 3. And we want everything to be, every email to be inside one list and not nested lists. And after the aggregate, we split them, and we split them because here they are as a single array, and now they are as separate items. And after we split them, we remove duplicates. And now we're doing it with a node instead of the code, because we could do this with code, but we wouldn't actually gain something. It's basically the same thing. And as you can see, we have 21 items at the beginning, and at the end we have 17. So let me find a duplicate email. So this must be gotten by some demo. And so this email, your@email.com, is interesting, which means that another way that we actually can improve the system is filtering out emails based on their domain. So, and this must be depending on the website builder. There are default values in forms and stuff like that, in some icons, so some websites have these email icons that you click and you open that. And and they have default values like this one, and if you don't put your email, this stays on. And we should filter this out. So for example, the email.com is an email that we should actually filter out. And after we have this, we use the Google Sheets module, and we link with our account. We use the append row, and we select the document, the sheet, and we have the inputs here, and we map the input. So the first column is the input, which comes from the first node, the trigger node, and the second one is the actual email. And as you can see, we have all of their emails here. So this is the first one. And now what this can do is, given a Google search query, it can generate emails based on the results from that. Now, in order to scale this and make it and get some actual value from it, we need to basically run this as many times as we can. So we need to generate a lot of locations. So if we want to target a specific niche, what we want is to generate as many locations as possible. And we can generate multiple niches as well. But in most cases, for each niche, there are two levels on this. So the first level is the location for specific niche, and the second level is a different niche for again all of the locations. In this one, we keep the niche specific and hard coded. In this case, it's lawyers, and in the location, and we play with the location parameter. So now this is the low level workflow, and okay, and here we have the second and more higher level execution. What this does is it uses an agent to generate all of the possible combinations, and it just triggers the other workflow. And the trigger here is manual, so we don't have to, and it can be anything. We can connect it to basically everything on Slack, on Telegram, anything. But for now, we have it as a manual trigger. Then we have an agent here, and in the agent, we need a chat model. In this case, we use the base GPT-4 Mini for cost reduction, and we also and the prompt, which is important. But as you can see, it's a very simple prompt. The prompt is we say that we want to generate a list of 20 US cities with lawyers in this format. So instead of explaining it, we just give it an example, and it comes out correctly. And we have a system message also that says that you need to return all in the list in this format. Again, pretty simple. And in here we say 20 US cities with our niche lawyers, but you can say more. Now, ChatGPT tends to work best until 100, 150 cities. More than that, it will just stop writing. If you want to write a query with 500 cities or more, you should use Gemini because Gemini is optimized for long outputs, and it's the only one. Every other model will just stop writing because they're optimized to not write very long. And as you can see, we run this, and we get this list, and we say these are like the biggest cities because there are 20, and these are the biggest cities. Now, if you want to, you want to launch a campaign, for example, in the US, and you want to cover as many ones as possible, what you can do is you can break this into two agents. So the first one will generate a list of the US states. The first one will generate a list of the 50 US states, or you can manually write them. This list as the first one, and then you make a new loop over, and basically in the loop over you have an agent, and there you will say take this state, everyone one by one, and generate, I don't know, 50 to 100 cities or counties from that state, or like as much as you can, or as many cities as you can. So like if you get more than 50 for each state, even the big ones, you will cover pretty much all of the country. And then you have, in this loop over, you have all of the combination, like you have every city in the US. So that I'm not sure like how much that is, but depending on how much deep you want to go, it could go to thousands. And side note, in many cases, going that deep into specific small counties, it might actually be lucrative to get those leads, because these people tend to stay low in the media, in tech, and not follow that much how business and tech is moving, and you might actually get more success with them. Now, and then you would have the first step would be the list of states. The second step would be the agent where it generates the steps. And then after that, you would you could merge this in here into this state, and you would have the location, like 50 locations from a state, and you will run this again. You will have basically, instead of one loop that we have here, you will have three, but it would cover like the entire US. And you can do that for every country as well. So you don't have to limit it. You can go with this structure, you could go to Europe directly as a single piece, or you could break it into the biggest countries, which is like there are 3 or 4. Now, what we need in this agent as well, in order for the output to be in this format, and we need the output parser, and we give it a simple structure. We give it a list with JSON items in our preferred type here, and it parses. Now we have the item. It is a single item, so we need to split it out to 20, and then we perform a loop over. Again, we need to specify the on error to continue in a separate error output, so it doesn't get merged. And now we have the execute workflow. So this is these triggers are subsystem, which is this one. And if you click here, and it triggers this one with an input. Why don't I have the input here? No, actually, I have it removed. So yeah, and you put the input from the previous one. And then we add a small weight, so it doesn't kind of break the system, and that will trigger the other one. Now, if we click test workflow, we see it generates. It uses the OpenAI to generate the list of the 20. It structured the output. It split everything. Let's see what locations we have. They're the same. So we have New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, these are the big cities, metropolitan cities. And now it triggers the workflows. And if I think we can see the execution in another window. So if we go, so this one is now, as we can see, we have the level 2 running for 40 seconds. And now they trigger the first one. And if we see, okay, it will have to finish. So now we wait. And yeah, the first results are coming in. So we had the Los Angeles from the previous run. And now we added the New York. We had the Los Angeles again. And we see they are different from the first one. And so it had run twice. Yeah, we see that it found way more in Los Angeles than it did before. And let's see the execution plan. So it's waiting. We did Chicago. And I'm going to speed this up to skip to see the end, but I'm going to leave it here so you can actually see how they're filling up. And let me zoom out a little bit, not this much. We got Houston. Okay, there are many on Houston, many people here. And nope, okay, this is a small bug. So I see that we're getting some filters here. Yeah, we're getting some. Okay, these are images. These are images that contain the hashtag. This comes from the regex in the emails, so it doesn't filter out images. We're going to stop this because this is a big one. We need to stop this. And what we're going to do is, where is it? So it's somewhere. It's in the second one. And okay, so this is regex. We don't know about regex, but who does? Our friend here. And we're going to say this is code block from, this is a JS code block from NA10. The regex is accepting values like these. And instead of writing it one by one, I'm going to just show it. So we have, I'm going to copy everything, it's not much. So it's like this. Task, I want you to revise the code in order to filter out the images. And I'm going to switch to O3 mini because it's better at code, and it should give us the final code. Now let's delete all of these. Okay, I did a mistake. I deleted the first row. So we emptied our sheet here, and we have, yeah, so it modified this and it kind of filters out for all these image types. Now I'm going to copy this. We're not copying the first one because the first one is let me show you here actually. So the first one is the expression of the input data. So if we delete this, so what is the input text? And the input text is the HTML file. It's this one. We just drag it in. And so for this one, actually, we can see that we got an email and an image. And if we test the new one, we should see only the email. Taking some time. Why so much? Oh, it's running back everything for some reason. It didn't have the data before, yeah, so it runs from the beginning again. Okay, I'm going to stop this. I don't want this to get filled. And we're going to run our level 2 system again. We're going to test the workflow, and we'll go here. We see that the level 2 is running and we're waiting, and the first one got started. And let me see the locations. I mean, it's generating everything in the same order. It might be cached because it's been less than 5 minutes, so with the same prompt, and it's cached. So we're gonna speed things up. And I mean, okay, so we have our first results. We should have Houston, New York. So we can see, I think I deleted before, but I didn't delete the rows. I just, with my tab key here, I deleted the lines. That's why these are considered as filled. And it started from actually row 68, although it's the first one. So we have, wait a minute, what the, JPG. So we're executing this and we should see our first runs, and the first one got started. Yeah, that was the previous run, and we have the email. Okay, I messed this up. So we're executing now, and we should see the regex for the images got some errors, and these were related to the CSV file. Now we have the first one. So now that this is running, we have the New York lawyers, and we see we have 7 values here, and we're expecting more. Increase that. So we have this is running, and yeah, Los Angeles, and this took a little bit more, and we have more of them, and we don't see any image now. I'm waiting for Houston because that one had a lot of images for some reason. So yeah, we see the domains here, and this is like another one, the office that we talked earlier. Chicago, this one looks good, and we see some of them are Gmails, and many of them are from their respective websites. And we have Chicago. Let's see which are the next ones. Houston, Phoenix. So I'm gonna wait until everything runs. It's gonna take a while, so I'm gonna speed things up. Okay, Houston is here, and we see there are fewer, way fewer than before, and we don't see any images, so the new regex actually works. And we see here Wixpress, not sure what that is, Sentry.io. Okay, interesting. And these are the Sentry.io. I think I know what this is. This is a website. Yeah, so it monitors web apps, and it should be installed on their website. That's why we see them here. And this is like another one that we could actually filter. And this is what happens in most cases. So we start with the base template like this one, and we extend this. So we run a few times, we see some tests, and we see some things that we're actually missing. And this is like one. I'm not sure I saw this one before. Maybe it's in your website. So we could actually filter for these types of emails. And another way that we can improve this is to check, instead of checking the Sentry.io, because like Sentry, there are many services like Sentry which could be present, especially when you scale up nationwide. We could actually check the first part of the email, and like if this is just like something like an ID, it's not a person. Like, and we could check this with the calls and like check this if it's true. Now, actually, let me see. How can I check if an email is valid? Let's see what if it throws if there's a service or something. Okay, no, let's start because it had the previous code and how to check if an email is valid. Verify domain. Yeah, this is what to do the DNS lookup to see if the actual website URL, if the actual domain has these MX records in their domain. So we could do this DNS lookup, and we can do this with Python code. So yeah, and I mean a mix of ChatGPT calls for like the first part with the second one should cover most cases. So let's see where we at now, and we have Phoenix and Philadelphia, and I'm curious to see how many results we'll get at the end. So we have 67 until now, and we're waiting. There are many cities that we're actually. So we are Philadelphia, and we're like 6 cities in, and we have 20 more. Okay, and another way that we can actually improve this, it's something that just came to mind, is we're performing Google Maps searches, and if we see at Google Maps here, let me bring this down. So as you can see the URL, let me remove this. So we are performing this search. We have the base, we have the location and niche. Now we could add something like, I'm not sure what this is, but the 34 -1 and the -118.46. These are latitude and longitude. And what we can do is with Python code, generate multiple results of that. So instead of clicking 34, let's say click 30. I think that's enough. So if we click 30, what it does is it centers the pin differently. So as we can see here, we have this arrows law at the center. Now, if we say from 118 to -118 to -1.8, we would go in a different location. And we see that we're still inside the Los Angeles area and we're getting multiple, and we are getting different results based on the pin that we're dropping in the map. So what you can do is, and this will work, this will produce results for the big metro cities. So you can add one more layer, you can go like one more layer deep with this, and instead of performing a single search query for the location, you have a code. Before you perform the query, you have a code block where you're generating these pins. So let's say you select the metro area, the big metro areas, and you drop 10 or 15 pins throughout the city. And what you do is you perform a loop on each. So this would go in the level 1, on this one. So it would go before the first request, and we would have one more loop over here. And for each different latitude and longitude in a city, we would run this system again. So the difference would be the seeds. So we would have the outer loop would start before the HTTP request and would end after the remove duplication. And we would have a new aggregate for all the latitude and longitude values and a new deduplicate for that thing again. So we would have the aggregate split and remove duplicate one more time, and the seed would be at the end. And in this case, we would actually cover a lot more details on metro areas, which actually can improve a lot our results. Now, continue with this one. We have San Antonio, San Diego. It takes a little bit of time to run this. And yeah, I see here user/domain, your mail. And these are default emails from their websites again. We have some of these, and something went wrong. Why? Okay, let's see which one of the runs in the cities went failed execution. And okay, we see the error here, and we see the error. And okay, I think I made a mistake. Yeah, so you live and learn. One of the cities got errored out because of the second code block that filters out the emails, and indeed get any match. So this should return the open brackets here, but it didn't. And the input is this one. But okay, this failed for some reason. And the important thing here is that the level 2 system stopped, and it stopped because we had in the loop over we have the setting, but in the execute workflow we don't have it, and we forgot it on sub workflow instead of continue. If we had this one, it would run again. So now we'd have to run this from the beginning, and we see it stopped after 8 cities, and it got 7 correctly, and we ended at San Diego. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna run this again. It's getting late, and I need to close the recording. But as you can see, we got with this template, we actually found a way to get basically infinite amount of emails, and you can scale this on any level. So you can go nationwide, you can go as deep in a specific state or a metro area. You can expand this to use multiple search queries within a city using by modifying the latitude and longitude. And so you can take this system and customize it any way you want. Now, the resources will be on the link in the video description. If you have any questions, comment below, and I'll try to respond to everyone. And if you have any ideas for other videos that you want to see, leave the suggestions in the comments below as well. Now, if you're watching this video and you want a business where you want to build your next AI automation system, whether this is about infinite amount of lead gen, enrichment of leads, sales outreach, lead follow-ups, any other type of AI automation or AI project, click the link in the video description where you can book a one-on-one consultation call with me. I look forward to talking with you, and thanks for watching the video.